Large parts of the United States and Canada are experiencing a heat wave that is shattering countless high temperature records. One village in Canada's British Columbia saw temperatures hit nearly 47 degrees Celsius at the weekend. That's 116 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the highest temperature ever recorded in Canada.
A cooling dip to beat the summer heat. Residents took to the water as the thermometer rose above 40 degrees Celsius in Seattle for the first time ever.
Yeah, it's hot. I mean, you just stand around and you're like, you can't breathe. It's so hot, at least for me.
Definitely have to wear shoes.
Yeah, the pavement, even grass,
really
you're
hot.
just like, whoop, no thank you. Go back inside.
The heat was too much for this farmer's market.
This is very few times that we do close the market early. Most of the time of which we've ever had to close the market early is because of snow. And so because of the heat, I think this is the first time we've ever closed early because of the heat.
Temperatures like these are no coincidence. The past decade has been the warmest on record, and the 5 hottest days were all recorded in the last 5 years.
The main thing going on is this highly unusual weather pattern. But that being said, climate change is real. Our temperatures have warmed here, especially summer nighttime temperatures. And so that has just kind of raised the baseline and made this heat event that much more severe.
While some seem to revel in the extreme temperatures, many environmentalists say this heat wave bears all the hallmarks of a climate emergency.
And for more now, I'm joined by David Phillips. He is a climatologist. He joins me tonight from Toronto, the cool side of Canada at the moment. Mr. Phillips, it's good to have you on the program. When you look at these high temperatures in the western parts of Canada and the United States, tell me how much of this is extreme weather and how much of this is climate change?
You know, Brett, it's always the question that comes up. Anytime you get a monster hurricane, a super typhoon, a heat wave, a forest fire, people always say, is this coming out of our tailpipes and smokestacks? Well, you know, I think we know that climate change doesn't create heat waves or hurricanes or major storms, but it contributes to it. You know, these heat waves are like our grandparents' heat waves. They've occurred before. But what's different about them, Brett, is the intensity of them, the statistics of them, the character, personality, the nature of these heat waves. They're not all the same. This one is much earlier than we've ever seen before. Typically in Western Canada, we see the warmest temperatures occur at the end of July, the beginning of August. This is in June when it's typically not the warmest time. We're seeing the areas sprawling from the Arctic Circle right down to the desert Southwest, and no escaping it, and with record-breaking. And we just broke a record that stood for 84 years.
Yeah.
And so I think that what climate change does is it sort of ramps it up. It's sort of like the steroids for weather, and so therefore it makes systems bigger and badder and more impactful. And so I think the degrees or elements of this heat wave are clearly has human DNA, but it's not the total cause.
But as we move forward, if we look into the future, should we be calculating more heat waves like this to be a part of the weather? And should we be talking about a new normal when we talk about normal weather?
Well, clearly, Brett, I mean, there's no question about it. What you see is what you're going to get. It's a forecast for the future. And likely we will see breaking records. I mean, this record stand for 1 or 2 more days, or else maybe 2 years, not 84 years. And so my sense is that clearly get used to it. This is the new norm. This is the kind of weather event that we'll see more often, especially in a country like Canada. I mean, we're the second coldest country in the world.
Right.
We're the snowiest country in the world. People come and ask about wind chill and polar vortex and frostbite. It's not these incredible desert-like temperatures. And so for us, where we don't have air conditioning to speak of in the West, or even our buildings are not set up to shed the heat, it's a real dangerous situation. Historically unprecedented, but from a public health point of view, it is quite a hit. And so I think the lesson is here. More of them, stronger, more intense. Hey, that is the forecast going ahead.
And what's your advice to people living, for example, in Vancouver or in the United States in Seattle? In those cities, air conditioning has traditionally been taboo. And now, I mean, am I right in assuming it's mainstream? You're going to need it if you want to survive.
Oh, I think it's artificial cooling that is going to clearly be the you can't buy an air conditioner or a fan in on the west coast of Canada. And so that's going to be more. It's going to be homes are going to be built with built-in air conditioning. I mean, and that of course can make it worse because it can create more energy needs, and that could ramp it up more. I mean, it's like a vicious cycle in a way. So I clearly think people are trying to adjust to it. My best advice is to put off today what you can do next week. I mean, it's going to come to an end, but clearly the people who are most affected by this are the elderly infants that don't perspire as well, and they have poor circulation. The homeless people, we're already seeing cooling centers are opening longer, and hydrating centers. Even industry is closing down because of the heat of the day. So it's something that is just not factored into our plans and our strategies, but it's going to have to be going ahead. This is a lesson to learn. This is not something that is just a one-off. It's going to be something that's going to be very much part of the new climate here in Canada.
Yeah, the 21st century climate, definitely not 20th century anymore. Mr. David Phillips, Senior Climatologist for Environment and Climate Change, we appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.